Hey there, yogis. This is Stephen Cheng coming to you live from Simha Yoga Lab in Jersey City, New Jersey. Please visit my website, simhayoga.com, for the full streaming schedule as well as my payment information for Venmo and for PayPal. Venmo is my preferred way of payment, and my handle is Simha Yoga Lab. And the 4-digit ID code, if you're prompted for it, is 8096. Costs are $10, and if you're having a difficult time right now, $5 is fine. Please do the best you can. I'm streaming on Instagram and on Facebook, and the videos have been uploaded to my YouTube channel, Simha Yoga Lab. Please visit any of those platforms for practice 24/7. You have full access in any of those places. If you're thinking about coming to the yoga studio for in-studio classes, please again visit my website, simhayoga.com, and the instructions are on there for pre-registration. I'm open for 25% capacity, so it is limited space in here, so you have to pre-register. Please download the waiver and e-sign and make sure you do that. And then when you pre-register, attach that waiver, and that will act as your liability. And then also, the email will act as contact tracing. So please make sure you do all of that. Today's class is basics. It is a level 1 class. If you're tight around the hips or your lower back, please elevate and sit up on a block or a blanket. Any of those types of elevation is quite helpful to find a comfortable cross-leg position. If you're working with any kind of injuries, special conditions, or limitations, make sure that you check in, and that if I'm going out of your range, that you either modify the poses or skip them altogether. That really doesn't work for you, right? And if you don't know how to modify. So please keep in mind, safety is all important, okay? All right, sitting up tall, palms face up, fingers come together, mudra, thumb and index fingers touching. Ground evenly through your seat as you broaden your chest, and sit up tall. And start to let your inhales even out with your exhale. Three arms together, inhale. Keeping the eyes closed, hands together in prayer in front of the heart, pressing the thumbs into your heart, heart back into the thumbs, lifting the heart up towards the sky, setting your intention for yoga practice, devoting your practice to someone or something, or to yourself, your supreme self that lives within your heart. Mantra for purification, purifying the space in which you practice yoga. Call and response. Om Pavitraha, Om Pavitraha, Pavitrava, Pavitrava, Sarvavashtan, Sarvavashtan, Gatopiva, Gatopiva, Yaha Smari, Yaha Smari, Pudrikaksham, Pudrikaksham, Sabhya, Sapahya, Vihyendraha, Vihyendraha, Suchihi, Suchihi. Beginning to open the eyes, palms face up. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, right ear to the right shoulder, right hand to the left side. And take the chin toward the right shoulder. Release back to center, drop the right hand. Left ear to the left shoulder, left hand to the right side. And chin toward the left shoulder. Release back to center, drop left hand, chin towards the chest. Big circles with the head in one direction. Ear to one side, roll it back. Opposite side, roll the center. few more rounds in that same direction. And take it back to center and pause. Opposite direction. And back to center again. Lift the chin parallel to the floor and neutral spine. Coming off your blocks and extend the legs forward, separating your feet. Hands to support to either side and turn your toes toward each other. And then roll out. Draw in. Roll out. Draw in. Outer rotation circling. Back to center, switch them around. Come back to center again. Cross your shins, opposite shin on top, the other crossing of the legs. Take the arms up high and extend. Twist to the right on the exhale. Come back to center, arms up. Other side. Come back to center again. Side bends. Right hand down, left arm overhead. Take it back up. Other side. Back to center again. Legs forward, forward fold. Take it back up. Step the feet to the floor. Keep your feet slightly separated. Grab the front of the shins. So give your side view. Round the spine to draw back, to open up the back, chin toward the chest. And then inhale, lift the chest and broaden. Exhale, take it back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw back. Inhale, lift. Come back to a more neutral position. Move the left foot further forward, hands to support. And take right ankle on top of the left knee. Make sure you flex your right foot. Then step the left heel in to draw the right heel in a little bit closer. So you're looking for hip opening here as you flex your right foot strongly. So it's quite important to flex the right foot because you are protecting the right ankle joint and the right knee joint. All right, press into the hands and your left heel and lift the hips up. Keep the right knee joint down for the hip opening as you lift the hips up high, broaden your shoulders, keep the legs and the arms strong. Release the feet back down, extend the left leg forward. Sole of the right foot to the inner left leg. Left hand to the floor for support, right arm is up. Inhale, lengthen. On the exhale, slightly rotate to the left so that you're lining up your torso over your left leg. And then start to reach forward, grab your foot, your ankles or your shins, whatever you can hold on to. Chances are you've rounded your spine already, so I want you to think about lifting the chest, engage your spine and the back. And then on the exhale, hinge at the hips, draw forward, keep a neutral spine as you take it forward. So as you take it forward with that neutral spine, you should start to feel also some activity to the back of the left leg. Right, so we have a tendency, especially if you don't have a lot of flexibility, that when you go forward, you start to round and shrug your shoulders, right? So try to avoid doing that, but instead lift and extend. Now that means that you can't come as far forward, that's okay. Right? As long as you're lengthening the spine and hinge at the hips to draw forward, you're feeling a little bit or a lot of back stretch, right? Because it could be that if you're not very flexible, you can be quite high like this and still reach a very good amount of stretch, right? And that is okay. If you have a little bit more range, just keep working forward. All right, inhale, take it back up. Keep the legs as they are and twist to the right. Take it back to center. Take that right leg and draw it behind you. The legs are roughly 90 degrees. Left hand to the floor. Right arm is up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come forward again. Grabbing the foot, Ankles are your shins. And again, re-lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge at the hips to take it forward. Right? It's quite important for us to keep this neutral spine because then we want to stretch at the lower back, right, and the back of the left leg. Now, if you immediately start rounding, you notice that you lose all of the stretch to your lower back. It is this lift that gives you the tension that as you go forward, you get that activity. All right, take it back, and let's twist again to the right. And take it back to center. Now this time, I'll give you a front view this time. Right, so we're here. This time, you're going to step the right foot down. If you have a little bit more hip flexibility, you can keep the heel in rather close. You don't want it too close because then you can't really balance, right? So you want it close enough that you feel like, okay, this is pretty strong and rigorous, right? It's really challenging. But you don't want it to be so tight that you're out of balance. However, this is too tight for you. You're not very flexible at all. Step it out a little bit. I want you to be able to sit down comfortably, okay? Then, depending on where you are, we're going to rotate to the right, grab the left shin. If you're a little bit further out, you're going to grab the shin. If you're a little bit further in, you grab the ankle. All right? You're going to side bend over the left leg and raise your right arm over the right ear. Now, if you're not very flexible, you're going to be higher up. That is okay. If this is difficult for you to balance, then take both hands to your leg and side bend this way as much as you can. All right? So again, if your foot is a little bit further, you're maybe not grabbing the ankle, but you're grabbing the shin. And you're taking the side bend this way. Right? If you happen to be very flexible, you have the heel in close, you have the hand to the ankle, and you're side bending. Let's say you're flexible enough to bind the hand to the foot. If that's within reach for you, go ahead and take it. But most of us are going to end up being something like this. All right? Come back up, keep the legs as they are, and then you're going to gently twist to the right. So you can grab the left hand to the right knee and twist. Right? If your foot is a little bit further forward, that's what it's going to look like. Right? If your foot is a little bit closer. All right, come back to center, counter twist. Press your right arm to insert the right knee and twist to your left. All right, square back to center and take the right leg forward. So this time I'll face you, okay? Right leg forward, sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. Janu Shashasana. Right hand to the floor for support. Left arm is up. Inhale, lengthen. Slightly rotate to the right, so you're lining up over the right leg. And then on the exhale, hinge forward at the hips to grab the foot. Re-lengthen your spine because chances are you've already rounded. Then on the exhale, hinge at the hips, keep the spine in neutral position as you draw forward. If you don't need your right hand on the floor for support, that's the other side of the foot. All right, so you're going to feel the stretch of the back of the right leg as you hinge forward at the hips, draw forward, right? So again, if you want to test it out, notice if you immediately round it, you're going to lose all of that nice stretch to your lower back. So even if, let's say, you're not very flexible and you're grabbing your shin and you're quite close to a vertical position, but as you lean forward, if you don't have a lot of flexibility, you're going to really feel it, right? That is okay. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for a nice, healthy extension of the lower back to the level that is comfortable for you. You don't want to stress out into it because then it's too much. Your muscle's going to react, right? Negatively, because you're going to tighten up when you overdo something, right? But then you don't want to round the spine either because then that doesn't do anything for you, right? So you want the balance in between. Whatever you need to hold on to for support, you want to come first into lengthiness of the spine. From that lengthiness, you just hinge at the hips to take it forward. If it's a little bit, but you feel a lot to your lower back, fantastic. That's what you're looking for. If you have more range, you're going to come forward a little bit more. All right, start to release, come back up, keep the legs as they are, twist to your left. This is a neutralization for your spine and your lower back. Come back to center again. Kick the left leg. Draw it behind you. Legs are roughly 90 degrees. I forgot to say on the first side. If 90 degrees is too tight for you, this is difficult. Right? When that happens, people end up kind of like falling off to the side, right? So if this is too tight for you, take the left knee forward a little bit, less than 90 degrees. Now you're going to feel a lot more centered and you can balance here. That's what you're looking for, balance. And then this will have to be modified accordingly, right? Now you have an alternative. If you have a block or blanket for elevation, you can sit up on the right side. This elevation is going to make it easier for your hips to then draw back to that 90 degrees we're looking for. So that's a very nice option if you have elevation. All right? Right hand to the floor, left arm is up, and take it forward. The only thing is, when you're elevated, be careful not to hyperextend the knee, because the foot, the leg is elevated, right? It's easy for you to push too hard downwards and go into hyperextension in order to draw forward, right? So you don't want that either. So make sure that if you're here, that you're mindful about keeping the slightest bend. And another option is if you have another prop, right? This blanket here forces you not to hyperextend, right? So this is a very nice way to modify it so that you have the elevation, so that you can work within the hips. You have the wedging of this to keep your knee from hyperextending. So those are very nice ways to find your pose. Take another breath here. Inhale, take it back up, keep the legs as they are, twist to your left. Come back to center again. Pick up the left leg, step the left foot down. If you're a little bit more flexible, draw the left heel in. Again, try to avoid coming too close. You're going to feel very shaky, not very balanced at all. So have it just a little bit further away, maybe about vertical shin. I think that's pretty good for those of you who are more flexible, right? If this is very tight for you and forces you to round your spine or tip to one side, then step the foot out a little bit. Give yourself a little bit more leverage with this space, okay? You're going to then take side bending. Right hand, if you're a little bit further out, grabs the left shin. Side bending over the right leg, reach your left arm overhead, and extend. If you have the foot a little bit closer, if you have more flexibility, you're grabbing the ankle, side bending to the right, left arm overhead, reach and extend, left side stretch. Right? If you have the range to bind, if you happen to have the extension, you happen to have enough flexibility to bind, take it. Right? So if you have less flexibility, right? Or maybe even higher up, if that's all you can handle, then this is all you're looking for. Right? So remember, every pose can be modified or adjusted to your physicality, right? If you're less flexible, if you're feeling the stretch, then this is wonderful, right? It's better than trying to get the side bend and you're all out of whack, right? And you're going like this. That does nothing for you. All right, start to make your way back up. Now keep the left leg as is. You're going to wrap the right hand around the left knee and twist. Take it back to center, counter twist, press your left arm to inside the left leg, and twisting to the right. Back to center. Carry the left leg forward. This time, we'll take the soles of feet together, knees apart. Grabbing the ankles and pulling against the ankles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw forward. Now, if you have the elbows pressing to inner thighs, that might give you a little bit more hip opening, right? So apply that if you want. And take it back up. Step the feet to the floor and pivot to the heel. Support with your hands. You're leaning slightly back and just windshield wiper your knees side to side. Oh, I just remembered. I forgot the ankles to knee. Okay. Right foot comes forward a little bit. Left ankle on top of the right knee. Flex left foot. Step the right heel in. Draw forward. And keeping the shape, press your right heel down and into your hands and lift the hips. Three-legged tabletop. Go ahead. Take the seat back down. So that's how we originally started, okay? All right. And bend your knees, cross your shins, and then walk it back to your down dog. Pedal out the legs. Inhale, take it forward into your plank and lower all the way down to the belly. Take the forearms down, grab opposite elbows so that you can measure out for about shoulder width. Take the forearms down, and your arms should be 90 degrees. So line up your shoulder with the elbow, okay? This is your Sphinx pose. Press your belly and your lower ribs toward the floor, which then elongates your lower back and lengthens. Right? Then, with that, press your forearms down and lift your chest. And that is the opposition to your belly pressing down. You're lifting your chest up and back. Gaze is slightly forward to the floor so that the back of the neck remains in neutral position. Now notice, if you look straight forward, right, because of the positioning of the body, you're actually crunching the back of the neck. So you actually want to look slightly downwards. So you're in neutral position. You're feeling the extension to your lower back. So you really want to press through your belly, right, and your pubis down to lengthen your lower back. Right? If you do this right, you might also feel a relief in your SI joint, right? Sacroiliac joint, right here. All right, start to release by drawing the elbows outwardly and lowering your chest. Walk your hands back in and lift up and back into child's pose. Now, when you go into child's pose, right, press strongly into your hands and really traction your hands to the floor so that you can press your seat toward the heels first. Notice that when you do it this way, you get a really nice stretch to your knees, to your shins, to your lower back and your glutes. Then you can collapse the head toward the floor. Once you got this tension of the seat joint toward the heels first. All right, make your way back up. You're going to sit on top of your shin. Now, for those of you who have tight quads, tight knees, right, to sit down like this could be a little bit tight, a little bit tricky. So you have an option. Hopefully you have a blanket or a towel, right? What you can do is insert the towel of the blanket behind the knee crease. And what that does is it acts like a wedge and supports you so that when you sit down, right, you're not going to go as severely into the stretch of the quads and the knees. This is going to limit you from sitting all the way down, but at the same time, the blanket's going to support you. Now, let's say you draw down and you've reached your maximum, but you haven't taken the seat down yet, right? You can take the blanket, for example, and fold it in. And now you're nicely supported with the blanket, right, up against the back of the knee creases, right? And that thickness of your blanket actually creates this cushion for you to actually lay weight onto, right? And this is what's helping you to balance here in a kneeling position without going into the severe position of lowering the seat down, which then may overstretch your knees and your quads if you don't have a lot of flexibility. All right, so we're just sitting quietly here. Okay, hands together in prayer, interlace your fingers, press your palms forward. Let's start with a neutral spine. Think about your tailbone reaching down and the crown of the head reaching up as you reach your palms forward. Now, when you reach your palms forward, you're also not dragging your shoulders forward, right? But you don't actively have to pull the shoulders back either. You just want to sit the shoulders into their sockets with the energy of the palms and the fingers reaching forward and a lengthy, tall spine. Right? So I'm feeling a lot of stretch, not only through my arms, my shoulders, right? But also through my quads and my knees, because I've been here for a little while now at this point, right? Now, of course, if it's too much strain for you, right, come in and out of the pose. We're going to hold this for a little bit. So if it's too much for you, then come in and out. Release that a little bit. All right? Start to release. We're going to come out of this kneeling position for a bit. Walk your hands forward and lift the seat. Tuck the toes. Just lean back a little bit. And this will give you a little bit of neutralization and circulation. All right, when you're ready, come back again. Untuck the toes. If you need to, reset your blankets, right? So first, inserting part of the edge of the blanket. Now, let's say you know you're going to need a lot of help. Start thicker. You don't even have to go all the way to the knee creases, right? If you know that you can bring it further back, play with it, right? Or if you know you need a lot of help, and you need it closer to the shin, to the knee creases, and take it closer to knee crease, right? So play with it. Look for what's comfortable for you so that you can hold and sustain the pose for a little bit. All right, I'm going to come off of it this time. All right, I'm sitting on my heels. Interlace your fingers again, but this time take the opposite thumb on top when you interlace. Press forward again. All right, so you're going to hear me talk a lot about symmetry. When we do poses that are asymmetrical, you do something on one side and you have to repeat the same thing on the other side, right? I always recommend for people to do the same thing on both sides. Okay? Now, the difference is in this time, when we're doing this a second time, is I was already symmetrical with everything below my shoulders, let's say, right? The only thing that was asymmetrical was the placement of my hands. So this, in terms of symmetry for the rest of my body, is irrelevant. As long as I do one thumb and then switch the other thumb, then I'm even, I'm symmetrical. In terms of my legs, the first time I had the wedge in, I was symmetrical left and right. I was fine. Then I repeated the pose. I came a little bit lower. I'm still symmetrical on both sides. So in this case, I do not have to do the same blanket setup 2 times. I could do one, I can do another, right? I'm still symmetrical. I'm catching up with the symmetry with my hands when I switch the other hand position, right? So everything above my chest, really, right? The only difference is my hand positioning. So I switched it, no problem. Everything else is fine for me to change it up a little bit as long as it's symmetrical. All right, release. I hope that makes sense, right? I'll repeat that again when we do actually something left and right side, and I'll tell you, I'll show you and demonstrate to you symmetry at that point. All right, let's start to release and make your way into your first down dog, and pedal out your legs side to side. All right, so if you were there, we were there in the kneeling position for a very long time. So you're going to feel pins and needles, you're going to feel the cut off the circulation a little bit, and you might feel a little bit of numbness, right? That's okay. Just keep pedaling out, and that will give you the circulation you're looking for. All right, let's go into our vinyasas, our sun salutations. Inhale, right heel up, 3-legged dog. Step the right foot forward, back heel comes down, warrior one. Right toes point straight forward, which means the inside of the foot is parallel to the side of the mat. Right knee bends over the right heel, vertical line, ground through the back heel at an angle, and really press your foot down. Try to find full extension of the back leg. Square the hips forward, square the torso forward the best you can, arms up. Now, if your shoulders are tight and you cannot get the arms straight up in the air like this, you can angle the arms forward. That makes it a lot easier for your shoulders. Now, right now, I have shoulders width. If this is still tight for you, you can move the arms out in a wide position, right? This is going to be harder than this. Now, if even this is difficult, you can always bend your elbows, right? So this might be for those of you who have maybe shoulder injuries or recovering from shoulder injuries, and you can't hold it for this long. All right, open it up for warrior two. I'm sure your legs and your arms are dying, so let's release a little bit by lengthening and turning the right toes to the left side, right? So notice, stay here for a second. So notice, right, I'm doing the right side right now. I'm going to have to repeat and do the same thing on the left side. That's what I mean about symmetry. So what I do on the right side, I will try to repeat exactly the same on the left side. Okay, so now we're doing a straddling for a bend. Now check your feet. Make sure your toes are just a little bit turned inwards and the heels are just a little bit wider, right? That way you get a nice extension to the outer legs. Also, make sure that you're symmetrical, right? Sometimes we're really asymmetrical. One set of toes turn really far in, and the other ones are not so much, right? So make sure you're looking for symmetry within here as well. Hands to the hip. Lift up for the back bend to prepare. Come back to vertical. Bend the knees slightly. Hinge at the hips. Keep maintaining that lengthy neutral spine. Hinge at the hips so that you can take the hands to the floor. Once your hands are to the floor, re-lengthening your spine with the crown of the head reaching forward and lifting up the upper back. On the exhale, lengthen out the legs the best you can. Again, continue to hinge at the hips and take it forward with that neutral spine the best you can in the forward fold. Right, it's really important when we come into the forward fold that we don't immediately round into the back. I'll give you a side view. Right, oftentimes, when we come into the forward fold, we start to go like this, right? Roundedness. And then we just shrug and round. This is not so great. If you don't have blocks, you can bend your knees so they can maintain lengthiness through the spine, right? And then as you draw forward, you can combine that with lengthiness best you can. If all you can manage is with your hands to the floor, in this position without rounding, then this is where you need to stay for a little bit. And then in time, you will start to get deeper and deeper into the forward fold. All right, let's break with your hands supporting on the floor, coming out, bending at the knees. I'm giving you a side view right now. Lift the back of the head and the upper back so you're coming back to a neutral spine. Shift your way back toward your heels, and when you come up, use the strength of the legs to carry you up. And turn the right toes forward, come back to your warrior two. In your warrior two, right knee is over the heel, arms are parallel, reaching opposite directions. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Exhale, hands to the floor, take the right foot back, and again, lower all the way down to the belly. Walk your hands forward, elbows draw down, Sphinx pose again. Grab opposite elbows, looking for shoulders width. Palms flat to the floor, forearms are pressing down as well. Line up your shoulders with the elbows, arms are 90 degrees. Press your belly and your lower ribs to the floor to lengthen your lower back. Reach back to your toes. So very lengthened. And press your forearms down, lift the chest. Again, gaze is slightly toward the floor ahead of you. And you just kind of hold it here for a little bit. Look internally through your mind's eye, your lower back, toward the sacrum. Right? So the sacrum is at the base of the spine. Right? It's a few inches, a couple of inches below your waistline. Right? Another kind of crude way of saying it is It's that spot right above your butt crack, right? We all have a butt crack. We know exactly where that is. This is your sacrum, right? Because when I say, oh, the base of the spine, where's the base? Where's the base of the spine, right? Is it the coccyx, tailbone, right? Is that the base of the spine, right? It's not quite that low. And waistline, okay, your waist is here. What's a couple of inches down from there, right? So you always kind of like are not sure. But the other way of referring to it, everybody knows exactly where that is. Right? So visualize your sacrum. Think about when you press your belly and your lower ribs to the floor, and you let the tail release and reach back toward your heels. What's that sensation, that release of your sacrum or your SI joint? Right, so for me, whenever I just kind of look internally and feel for it, oh my God, it's such a great release because it's a very subtle, very, very subtle release, very subtle movement. But when you actually feel that release, it just feels like all the tension is just disappeared. And then your glutes will relax a little bit. And then you'll feel like your hips are a little bit more quiet and easy, and it just releases. All right, let's reactivate to come out of the pose. So moving the elbows out of the way so you can lower the chest. Walk your hands back in, and very slowly, don't go too fast, very slowly lift back up and work into your child's pose. Again, your child's pose, right? You're going to press firmly into your hands so that you can take the seat closer toward the heels. So get that stretch into your lower back, into the glutes, also into your quads and your knees. Now, once you have that deeper extension of the seat toward the heels, now you can relax the upper back and rest your forehead. All right, coming back up, lift the seat. This time, we will take a yogic squat, okay? So, we're going to take the feet wider. Lift the knees, walk your feet in, turn your toes out. So your feet should be anywhere between, I don't know, a foot and a half, or even wider, maybe 2 feet if you need that much space, but a foot and a half, I think for most of us, is pretty good. You want to turn the toes out. Try the best you can to keep the heels on the floor as you bend your knees and let the feet drop. Right? Some of us might be off the floor, right? One adjustment you can make is, if your heels are not touching down, is to walk your feet wider. When you walk your feet wider, maybe that works a little bit better. Another alternative is, if you have a blanket, step on the blanket with the heels, so now you've elevated the floor to meet your heels. So this way, you can feel the resistance of the heels pressing against the blanket to the floor. So that gives you a sense of groundedness, a lot stronger, a lot more stable in your yogic squat. All right, we'll just hold it here for a little bit. Now, yogic squats are quite important externally or superficially on the lower back to get the back stretch, glute stretch, hip opening, right? And of course, feet, ankles, shins, knees, and quads, right? So all that is happening here, right? But internally is really working your pelvic wall, right? Your pelvic floor, sorry, your pelvic floor. Right? Your pelvic floor is like this kind of elastic webbing that holds all your organs together, or holds all your organs up, right? Without the pelvic wall, you just spill out, basically. So what's happening is, when you take yogic squat, it's creating elasticity, right? And it's really important for you to maintain all of that so that your internal organs are going to be held up properly. right? So if your pelvic floor is not strong and elastic, you might end up with this condition called pelvic floor dysfunction, which creates a lot of like internal discomfort, right? So it feels like all those internal organs, your like all the muscles that you have to activate from like keeping from urination and excretion, like all those muscles get weakened, and you might experience a lot of discomfort. So and kind of numbing, gnawing pains, right? So really important yogic squats for all this flexibility and internal and external health. All right, let's start to come out. Hands on the floor for support, and slowly start to lengthen the legs back out, right? Remove your blanket if you need. So with that, to come into a standing position with your hands on the floor for support. Bend the knees, shift the weight back towards your heels. When you start to think about coming up, lift the head and the upper back. And through the strength of the legs, you're going to come up with a more neutral spine. That's how you avoid overstressing, overstraining your lower back. Because if you round the spine to come up, oftentimes that disengagement makes your lower back vulnerable. And so without that support of the lower back, you just end up rolling up. If you have potential or a pretty weak lower back, and if you have any kind of potential lower back issues, that might throw things off, right? So it's really important for you to think about whenever you're coming out of a standing position, to use your legs. Now, have you ever heard when people say, oh, when you're picking up weight, picking up a box, use your legs and not your back? It's the same thing. If you pick up a box with straightened legs and you go like this, that's how you throw out your back. However, if you activate your back to sustain, and you bend at the knees, and you use your legs to pick something up, that's a lot safer because your legs are not going to throw out the same way as your lower back would. Your legs are stronger. All right, so keep that in mind anytime you're coming out of a standing position. Use the bent knees, use the neutral spine, and use the shifting of weight. And then use the strength of the legs to come up. Very important. All right? Let's come into standing position toward the front of the mat, and let's take them standing poses, right? So you're facing the front of the mat, I'll face you. Tree pose. Stepping on the left foot, pick up the right knee. Open up the knee to the right side. With your right hand, grab the foot from the inside the leg, and take that foot as high up as you can, above the knee joint if you can. If that's really tough for your hips, because your hips are tight, go below the knee joint, right? Below the knee joint. What you do not want is to press your heels directly onto the knee joint. If you put too much weight into it, that repeated action might throw out your alignment, right, of the knee. You're going to end up with some knee pain. So go above or below the knee joint. Now, if even below the knee joint, you're very shaky, you can take the right toes to the floor and press your heel to the inside of the leg. So above the knee, above the ankle joint, right? So that's a very nice way for you to balance in the tree. Hands together in prayer, arms up and out. The gaze is to the floor, slightly ahead of you. Find a fixed point to help you to focus and balance. Right? You might sway around a little bit. That's okay. Just keep adjusting your footing, right, in order to accommodate for the swaying of the body and the change in balance, right? And just whatever you need to do to find that stillness. Right? There might still be some small movements. That's okay. As long as you're standing on the left foot the best you can. All right, let's start to break. Raise the arms up, draw the right knee forward, step the right foot down, and walk it out side to side. Release your arms as well. Right, so if you're not used to standing on one foot and balancing, it's quite difficult, right? Balance is difficult. It's not like we walk around in real life going like this much, right? Once in a while, we'll need to find balance, right? But the tree pose is not a natural position for us, right? All right, second side. Stepping on the right foot, pick up the left knee. Open up the knee to left side, grab the foot from the inside of the leg, and take that foot as high up as you can, above the knee joint or below the knee joint. If you need the help, the toes to the floor and the heel up against the inside of the right leg, take it. Gazes to the floor, slightly ahead of you for balance, hands together in prayer. Taking arms up and out. Tree pose. And the more you press your right foot down to the floor and lengthen through the spine to reach up, the stronger you're going to feel. The more you press your right foot into your left foot into your right leg, and the right leg into your left foot, that resistance is going to make you feel stronger as well. The more you extend the arms outwardly in this wide position, the more balance you're going to feel. Right? So they're all adding up together to help you with your balance. All right, let's break. Arms up, draw the left knee forward, step the left foot down, release your arms, walk it out side to side. All right, let's take one more balance. Come back to Tadasana, standing mountain pose, stepping on the left foot again, pick up the right knee. Right hand to right knee, left hand to left hip. Then open up the knee to the right side. So the action is the right knee opening to right side, activating your hip flexors, right? And try to use the muscles to open instead of the hand pulling the knee to open, right? So the hand is just there to give you a little bit of support, but the action is happening from the hip flexors, right? And then you're just holding up the knee here. If you want to challenge your balance, you can look to the left past your shoulder. Right? Anytime you're looking forwards or downwards, right, that's going to be a lot easier than looking sideways or upwards. All right, let's break. Take it back to center, step the right foot down, walk it out side to side, decompress your left leg, left hip. All right, second side, Tadasana. Stepping on the right foot, pick up the left knee, left hand to left knee, right hand to the hip. All right, so remember, left hand is barely there to help you. All the work is coming from the hip flexors to open up the knee to the left side. And then you're just holding up that leg a little bit with the left hand. And then again, if you're challenging your balance, you can look over your right shoulder to the right side. All right, square it back to center, step the left foot down and walk it out. All right, come back to Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up and take that to a slight back bend. Then come forward to a standing position. Start bending at the knees, and again, as best with a neutral spine as possible. Take the hands to the floor, and then step the right foot back, palms flat, step the left foot back, down dog, pigeon. Raise the left leg up. Draw the left knee in and land that left shin to the floor. Pointed left toe position. Right? I'll give you a front view. Pointed left toe position. You're standing on the left shin. The left knee, left thigh angles out to the side, 30 to 45 degrees. And what that does is it's creating a triangle in which you're balancing on. Right? Then inch your right knee as far back as you can so you can lower your seat, keep your hands supporting. Then start to lengthen and sit up tall. This is where you start to investigate the hips level. Right? If you're sitting down to one side, you're going to feel this side, the right side, crunching. In order not to fall to the left, you're curving the upper torso to the right. Right? So this whole thing is off center. So you're standing on the shin, the pelvis level, your spine is straight, and you should feel balanced enough that you may not even need your hands for support. Then once you're set, walk your hands forward. You can be on your forearms, or you can make pillows with the hands and rest your forehead. your choice. Take the next few breaths here. Now, as you take your pigeon, these are the sensations you'll feel. Right? Left quads, left knee, left shins, getting lots of lengthening. Depending on how much weight you're putting back onto your seat, you might feel a very nice hip opener, hip stretch, or glute stretch. Right? If you're not putting that much weight into it, let's say your back leg is closer, then you're not going to feel that much because most of the weight will be then evened out with your arms and your left shin. However, if you reach your right knee further back, that will help you lower the seat, and that will give you a deeper glute stretch, hip opener. Right? Feel the difference if you come forward a little bit versus if you go back a little bit. A huge difference. Now, the right leg is also active, right? Your right toes are reaching back strongly. The front of the right leg is actively lengthening. All right, let's break. Make your way back up. Walk your hands back in. Tuck the back toes and press it right back to your down dog. Take lots of movement side to side by pedaling out your legs. All right, second side. Right leg up. Draw the right knee in. Pointed right toe position. Land shin to the floor. Right knee, right side angles out 30 to 45 degrees with your hands supporting. Inch your left knee as far back as you can and untuck the toes. Walk your hands in. Lengthen through the spine. Feel. Pelvis level. Spine straight. Balance. Then you're ready to come forward. And so again, feel for all the sensations of your pigeon. Right? Superficially or very obviously is the rigorousness into your right knee, right quads, right shin, right? Because you're putting weight on it. Then, depending on how far back you reach with your left knee, left leg, right, you might feel a good amount of opening into your right glutes, right hips, right? The arms are there to help you support a little bit, right? But it should be like a stabilizing structure as opposed to a rigorous active positioning. And begin to break. Hands to the floor, lift the elbows back up, walk your hands back in a little bit. Tuck the left toes under, press into your hands to step it back, down dog, and then take lots of movement side to side. All right, let's start to walk your feet forward toward your hands and take the feet down. Extend the legs forward, hands to either side as you slide the hands out, lower onto your back. Keep the left arm out to a T, draw the left knee in, and twist to the right. Recline twisting. So when you twist to the right, try to keep your left arm, left shoulder blade flat to the floor, and you're rolling to the outer right hip, outer right leg for the twist. Reclining twist. Take it back to center, switch legs, switch arms, twist to the other direction. Keep your right shoulder blades, right arm flat as you go to outer left leg, outer left hip. And take it back to center again. And hug both knees in. Step the feet to the floor, slide the legs forward. Shavasana, final relaxation. Feet are separated, toes are turned out, arms alongside body. Shoulders released, neck released, eyes are closed. Begin to draw the breath back in. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms overhead, stretching in opposite direction. And then rolling over to the right side and come up to a comfortable cross-legged position. Even seat, lengthy spine, shoulders broad, breath deep, and let the neck be free. Inhale for Om. Hands together in prayer, bowing forward, sealing the practice. Inhale, come up. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you had a good time. Please visit my website, simhayoga.com, for the full streaming schedule, as well as my payment information for Venmo and for PayPal. Venmo is my preferred way of payment, and my handle is Simha Yoga Lab. And the 4-digit ID code, if you prompt it for verification, is 8096. Costs $10, and if you're having a difficult time right now, $5 is fine. Please do the best you can. I'm streaming on Instagram and on Facebook, and then the videos are uploaded to my YouTube channel, Simha Yoga Lab. So visit any of those platforms for a full practice anytime you want, 24-hour access, full access. All right, if you're thinking about coming to in-studio classes, make sure, again, you visit the website. There are instructions on there. You do need to download a waiver and then e-sign it. And then when you send in your email for pre-registration, make sure you attach that waiver. It's very important for you to attach a waiver. All right, so thank you for your time again. I hope to see you soon. Be well.